When life throws you a curveball, how are you going to handle adversity? Welcome to the Fearless Mindset Podcast, where you're about to go on a journey as I interview security, business, and entertainment leaders on what it takes to stay fearless. I'm your host, Mark Ludlow, and enjoy today's episode.
And so, Zach, let's go into this also. What is the biggest, that you've been in the business a long time, what is the biggest weakness you see in bodyguard agents in their mindset? What is that biggest weakness that makes them fall the most?
It's exactly what you said. It's being single track minded and saying, this is my only job. Don't tell me to do anything else. This is it. I'm here to guard this, or I'm here to be a bodyguard. Because I've seen it. I want to say too, yes, you just hit the nail on the head. You just hit the nail on the head, Mark. You have to be cross-trained in everything. It's true. And it doesn't, you can go in as an executive protection agent. You can go in as a security personnel at an organization, but learn the business mission. Understand the goals of the business. Don't be single-minded. Be holistic. Understand everything. So for example, for me, right, we talked a little bit about some of the programs. I have to learn everything. I have to understand leasing. I have to understand club membership. I have to understand resort rooms. I talked about housekeeping. I have to understand how our maintenance department works and our engineers. I have to understand our vendors. I have to understand managing contractors. I have to understand every aspect of the business, IT, food and beverage, right? I have to understand everything. And that's what I've been doing over time is I have been studying every department and learning things. And honestly, if something were to happen, I can step in for another manager and I can step in and say, hey, I can help assist you with running this department. I can do it because I know what I've learned, right? And that's part of making yourself more valuable. Add value to yourself. Don't be single track minded and say, hey, my job is a dispatcher only. That's it. My job is an EP agent only, because you have to do it all. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I told you a lot about customer service, but I do work with the United States Secret Service, the Department of State, Dignitary Protection Unit. We're always the first and foremost goal is security, and we're doing that. But it's bigger than that. Like you said, it's bigger than that. And that will bring value to you as an employee. And you got to think of it like this is, if they're looking at who they want out of the company, if they're trying to cut down and say, who's going to be off the bus, make sure that's not you. Okay. How do you do that? You make yourself the most valuable. And they got to say, hey, I cannot lose that guy. I can't lose Mark. He's too valuable. He's the most valuable employee in our organization. So that's the mindset that I've been having. Right. And like you said, it will help you to grow. It will help you to get the positions that you want in your career. And like I said, I don't know why I've been selected by these luxury resorts to be the director. I don't know all the reasons, but I can tell you this is that my formula, my methodology is working. And like you said, it's knowing everything and knowing the operations. It goes far beyond security. And then also you mentioned too, Mark, which is really interesting, is that people, with all these lockdowns that have happened and everything and the economy and so many negative things going on. And like you said, people are glued to their phones and they're reading all this bad news every day from the propaganda, the media. People are hostile right now. And I can tell you right now, I've never seen people so hostile in my entire career. Okay. And a big part of managing that, and I want to share this with you, and I hope others do this who are security managers in their organization, is to have a good workplace violence prevention program. Okay. We're seeing in current events, and like you said, we need to be up to date with current events. We do. We are seeing a surge in mass shootings across the country. We're seeing things like that. Okay. So we need to be ready for that. The workplace violence prevention program that I have instituted, there is a zero tolerance policy for any of the following, right? Threats of violence, harassment, sexual harassment, disturbances. We don't allow disturbances, right? Any type of behavior like that, we are not going to tolerate it, and we're going to take it very seriously. So at my organization, if someone makes a threat, I'm calling my local police department and I'm working with detectives and say, hey, this person made a threat. And, I'm going to give that to them, because they're the true, those guys are awesome and they do a great job, but you have to be ready. And even maybe it's not that extreme. Maybe someone's not making a threat. Maybe they're, harassing employees and cussing at them and being disruptive. Same thing. I'm not going to allow them back on the property. I'm going to trespass them because I have to take everything very seriously in this day and age. It's so important. And it just goes back to being a holistic security practitioner. You need to be good at everything, every program, it doesn't matter if it's safety, if it's service and security. You have to be good at what you do. And you have to take everything very, very seriously.
You mentioned something very paramount in training. I heard you say something about OSHA. You work with OSHA for occupational safety health issues for just training your company. So you're actively involved in training. And then also we need to have, active shooter training. You're probably training your employees on how to react to an active shooter type of situation. And I mean, there's so many things more than just being a bodyguard that you're doing. And that's probably what Pelican Hill saw in you is like, oh crap, this guy's doing it all. He's training, he's facilitating, he's managing leases, he's managing contracts, he's managing vendors. That's like an MBA degree for that position. I mean, you got to be a master's in business. You have to understand business continuity within the organization you're working for. And that's why, you're such a gift to that organization, because you've done your homework, you've done your studies, you've gone to school. And I mean, what was the last EP course you took? I mean, it sounds like to me, you mastered in schooling for business, and always, no disrespect to the EP schooling trainers out there. We need you guys. Okay.
Yes,
don't take this in disrespect. But look at Zack's track. He didn't say anything about any EP course he's taken lately. He's talking about medical, blood pathogens, lease documents and all that. I mean, I see a trend here. Yeah, I see a lot of people blasting, EP courses and all that. But maybe we need to learn something from what Zack's doing, because corporations and organizations like what Zack is doing. Maybe we should be copying what Zack's doing, because Zack is like a Tom Brady in the industry. No one knows about, seen about, and he's kicking butt. He just got promoted to a 5-star resort as a head of security over there. And he's not a Navy SEAL. He's not a federal agent retired, not living on a pension. The guy lives in Orange County, and he's thriving without all these credentials or letters behind his name. And that's why he's on the show, folks, because the way he thinks is different from many that I know.
Thank you, Mark. And like you said, yes, we do need those guys, those EP professionals. But like you said, I'm different. I haven't taken any type of course like that. I don't have any of that experience. I can tell you this though, is that we have a lot of dignitaries that come through our property, and a lot of, we've had amazing people. And I watch the Secret Service a lot. I've been around them many times, and I learn, and it's part of being on the job. So whatever you do, watch, learn from others, right? When I go to work every day, I check my ego at the door. I have no ego. Okay. And that's another part of this.
Boom. Right there.
That's another part of it. I have no ego. Like, I'm going to come in, I'm here to serve others. I'm here to help. I'm here to contribute to the organization. And you know what? Yes. There are times where we need to be tough. I think I told you, we have, if I need to have people arrested, I do it, right? We will prosecute people to the fullest extent of the law, and we'll be tough. But that is 1% of the job. And it really comes
1%.
down to like,
1%.
Yeah, exactly. And going back to what I said is I learned from others. So I learned from Secret Service agents. I learned from State Department agents, and seeing how they do their job, seeing how they protect, these dignitaries. And you can learn from that. And that's part of any job. You just have to watch, don't have an ego. And I ask questions, because if you have an ego, you're not going to go and say, hey, can I ask you about this? You're not going to do that. You're going to be too full of pride. But again, I check the ego at the door. I walk in with humility, and I watch and I learn, and I ask questions. I'm not afraid to ask questions. I'm on a lifelong path to learning. Like we talked about, I'm still young, and it doesn't matter if I'm young or if I'm 80 years old. I'm still going to learn. I'm still going to read. I'm still going to ask questions. I'm still going to seek out professionals like yourself, Mark, and learn from others. Because that's really the secret. It's not really even a secret. That's the recipe for success. Is you just have to continue to learn every day. Continue to develop yourself, cultivate yourself. And I guess you would say you're right. It's unique that I don't have that. I haven't taken those types of courses, but again, I think it goes back to being holistic. And like you said, everything, I'm an instructor with American Red Cross for CPR. It's the little things like that, being an instructor for first aid and CPR, and, understanding, different aspects of safety. I think it goes back to the simple things and doing very well at the little things. And eventually when the big things come up, you can handle it.
Well, here's a question. I mean, I see a lot of great trainers out there, and I respect what they're doing. We need our hard skills for different type of executive protection that are needed overseas and Central South America for evacuation, the transportation type of stuff that I see out there. I mean, domestically, Zach, how much of that stuff you've seen on social media would be a buy-in by a corporation? Maybe 1% of it?
I would agree. I would say 1% for a corporation, for a business like where I am, right? For a hospitality corporation where we do real estate, things like that. It's very, very small. But again,
so they'd be smart to go after a customer service type of school, like soft skills.
Absolutely. That's very important. The soft skills, learning things like that, just developing yourself. It's very important to do that. So yeah. And like you said, not knocking any of those schools at all and doing things like that, because we need to have bodyguard skills. And look, even for me, I train every single day. I work out. I'm working out 6 days a week. If needed, I understand martial arts, and I've trained martial arts.
Okay. What belt are you? Are you any belt yet?
Well, I actually grew up training martial arts with my dad.
Okay.
My dad is actually a 9th Dan black belt in Korean military martial arts. I believe it's like Kuksul and Hapkido.
Oh,
so
nice.
I grew up training with him, and also I have older brothers. One of my older brothers is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So it wasn't 100% my focus, but I've always, grown up doing it, and I respect it. And we have to be healthy. We have to be training. We have to be, we have to be fit, not only physically, we have to be fit mentally, right? Spiritually. It's very important. So yes, the hard skills are important when needed, but generally speaking, we need to be good at those intangibles, like we talked about, that service mindset, learning from the organization, understanding how to serve that organization. It's so important. Because I can tell you, my boss, she can call me to do anything in the workplace, and she knows that I'll get it done. She knows that I'll do it because I understand everything, and I can do it with a humble heart, and I can do it with a mindset where our guests, our clients will be pleased.
Well, we're going to change it up a little bit in this conversation, folks. I'm just curious on the advice that Zach has for the millennials that are coming into the workforce. We hear a lot of complaints that they don't have a work ethic, they're lazy and all this other stuff, but they're actually very creative people, very creative. They understand technology, they understand social media. The joke is I hate social media, but they said, get your cousins, get your nephews and nieces, have them run your social media because they understand it. So they're very gifted in those things. Zach, what's any advice you can offer those folks that are they're hearing about the recession, and you've been in the corporate workforce for a while. What's the advice for the millennials that you can offer that younger generation, and just work ethic, corporate culture, and that type of thing?
I would say, first and foremost, I would say try to get some classes in. Try to go to a local community college. If you're young, if you're my age group, right? I would say get into a local community college. Start taking some classes and set a goal for yourself. Maybe your goal is to get an AA degree. Maybe your goal is to get your bachelor's degree. Anything. Just set a goal for yourself. Accomplish that goal, and then once you've accomplished it, put it on your resume, because it shows, hey, you set a goal and you set out and you finish that goal. You followed through with it, right? I would say start with that. And then second is, I would say get yourself polished up. Get a suit, get clean shaven, get a haircut, and
get a haircut.
Get a haircut and apply for a job. I would say specifically towards security. Hey, if you want to join a great industry, I would say get into physical security, whatever it may be, whatever you like, whatever you think is interesting towards you, because you don't want it to be a job. You want it to be fun. And that's where I see it, because I have fun every day at work. I go in every day and there's something new every day. I could be talking to somebody who's having a mental health crisis. I could be helping a millionaire with their luggage, or helping them with their groceries to their apartment, or I could be conducting an investigation for human resources. Every day is different. It's a lot of fun. So do something that you like, whether it's hospital security, whether it's any, there's so many sectors like we know about. Hospital, hotels, school security is something that's going to be up and coming right now. with all these current events, we need to have good school security. I would say tap into the market where it's most needed and really thrive, learn, understand everything, and do your best every single day. You said that this millennial group, they're very creative. And I've seen that with my employees. They're creative. They're great with technology. I mean, we have a lot of technology where I work. And if something breaks, it might take me a day to troubleshoot it, to get on there and fix it. These men and women can fix it in 30 minutes because they're so tech savvy, It's a good skill. Yeah. And it's a great skill to have. It's a great skill. So I would say set a goal for yourself. Do a little bit of schooling. Get into the field that you want to get into that you find is interesting, and start from the bottom. Be humble. That's the first thing. You have to be humble. A lot of young people too, I've seen, is that they have very high expectations. So I've been hiring a director of security for my role because I'm transitioning to a different role, right? I've had 150 applications for my position.
Wow.
150 applications. And I can tell you this, I can see from the resumes that many people are not, they're not ready, or you can just see the experience isn't there. Just put in the work, put in the time. That's okay. I think a lot of the young people's expectation is that I want success now. They see social media, right? And I'm not on social media, just LinkedIn. But I can tell you, they see the social media, they see all these young people, maybe they're flaunting wealth, maybe they did well in some way, some form, and they think that's going to be me tomorrow. I'm going to be successful tomorrow. And it's not, as we know, it's not about shortcuts. You have to work hard. You have to put in the work and the dedication. And try also, I would say too, is something that I see on a lot of resumes, and it's okay, but I do see a lot of people going from job to job to job to job to job to job to company here, company there. I mean, they're there for 2 months, they're gone. They're there for 2 months, they're gone. Now, it's different if you're in a contract. That's what we do in contracts. We go to different contracts here and there. But I'm talking about one organization. Try to stay with an organization for a good amount of time. Try to prove yourself. Try to work your way up. And you're going to have ups and downs, right? In the almost 6 years I've been at Balboa, I've had a lot of ups and downs. I've had really good days. I've had really bad days. But you got to pick yourself up and you got to go back to work the next day, put a smile on, and do your best. So that's my advice for young people, is to put in the work, try to stick with one organization, try to set some goals for yourself. And I'm telling you, good things will happen. I'm a living testimony from it. It all comes down to being humble, working hard, having a positive attitude, and learning and developing yourself. That's what it's all about. Got to keep developing yourself. And I'm all for, I know a lot of guys like doing these like certifications, things like that. I'm all for it. Do anything you can do to learn and to grow. But understand it's going to take time, and you have to prove yourself every single day, every day.
Hey, Zach, regarding those 150 applicants that you had for your job that you're leaving, out of 150 applicants, what is the percentage of retired cops and military guys in those applicants?
About 50%.
Wow.
50% of guys that are either retired or it appears that they're going to retire very soon. Very impressive resumes. Talking from even just like, guys that have been street cops for, 20, 25 years to guys that are, in the executive command of their law enforcement organization that are getting ready to retire. And I mean, this is phenomenal, but I can tell you this is like, and I always want to hire veterans and law enforcement, retired individuals. I look for that. I do. But like I said, there in my specific niche, the X factor is you have to have a customer service aspect, and it comes down to leaving your ego at the door and really serving others. So I like to see that customer, and if someone can get that on their resume, that customer service background, it doesn't matter what it is. Whether you're working at a call center, you're working at a grocery store, we just want to know that you can speak to people face to face and have a conversation with them and smile and be polite to them, treat them like a human being. It's very important. Because we know like, hey, like police officers can do that too, of course. And veterans, they can do that. But we know that the job is tough. They have a very tough job, right? And you have to always be, you have to always have that warrior mindset, and you got to be tough all the time. So it is good too to have some of that customer service, kind of merge into your background. It's just a good thing to see.
Yeah. What out of the 50, military law enforcement folks that applied, what would you say? Um, what percentage had that customer service piece in their resume? Was it maybe 1% or less?
I mean, I would say
Or,
less than 5%, less than 5%,
wow. Okay.
So it's tough to come by, and that's why it's so important. Like, hey, if you can find your way as a veteran, as a law enforcement officer, if you can find a way just to do something on the side or just get some of that experience, you know what I mean? It will really help a lot. It will help you. It will help you with stepping into that role. Because I know a lot of people want to get into the world of corporate security. They want to get into that realm of, getting into that business, because we're going to continue to see it. All these businesses with a lot of it, you have to have security. You have to protect your employees. You have to protect your clients. You have to protect the assets. You have to understand everything. So yes, I would say that customer service aspect is important, but also if you want to get in luxury hospitality security, you have to understand safety. You have to get involved and learn occupational safety compliance, business continuity, like we talked about. And there's ways to do that. You can take online courses. It's very important to do that, get certified. There's different OSHA certifications that you can get. So it's very important to do that and to learn that so that you have that factor, because that's what hospitality organizations are looking for. Someone who can step up and do safety. Because typically in safety would, I would say years and years ago, safety falls under maybe it falls under human resources, or maybe it falls under the maintenance department, right? But those departments are extremely busy. Human resources is very busy. Engineering maintenance is so in demand right now. It's so busy. So if you can step up as a security leader and with that safety experience and customer service background, I really believe it will make you extremely valuable.
So there you go, folks listening. If you're getting out of law enforcement, retiring, or getting out of the military, Zack just gave you some gold nuggets wisdom of which direction to take your resume, or how to pad it. Because like Zack said, corporations are hiring, but think about all the cops who are leaving positions of law enforcement going to corporate security. There's gonna be a flood of them because the defunding police thing is happening nationwide still. And I think a lot of agencies are realizing, oh, we need our cops back now because things are kind of crazy. But keep in mind too, a lot of people want corporate security positions. Why? They're full time and they offer benefits, and that's why Zack's 150 applicants, 50% of them are retired cops. They want that steady paycheck, and that's the beauty. If you're like in Hollywood, working in LA, you're working in state security, whatever, for a celebrity. That's why corporate security is so attractive, is because it's not really a gig. It's a full-time job. Zack works like 50 to 80 hours a week. He works a lot of hours over there where he's at. And sometimes he gets calls on weekends. He's on call. And it's no joke. He's running a city. He's basically running it. He's a chief of police of his own corporation, of his own little city. And that's what he's doing. And go ahead.
Yeah, Mark, you're right. Actually, and I'm glad you brought that up, because at times it's a small city. You have thousands of people, and we have our team of security. And yeah, we're security here to serve, but sometimes we turn into that enforcement force on the property, right? So it's just so important though. Like you said, a lot of guys want to get into security. Like, just really do your best to round yourself out and get that experience in different aspects. It will help you. It will help a lot, and it will prove well for you when you're applying. It will set yourself apart from everyone. And also,
you see these. Go ahead, Zack. Go ahead.
Well, also, I want to say too is that, like, a lot of guys too, they'll come talk to me, or we'll discuss, like, hey, I'm going to retire. I want to work, in hotel security as as a manager. Well, I also tell them, hey, it's kind of not a retirement job. I mean, it's extremely busy. It's extremely demanding. Like you said, I work 80 hours a week. I'm on call 24/7. I get calls at 2 a.m., at 3 o'clock in the morning. Things happen, right? It can be very stressful. I mean, it's a big sacrifice to do what I do. I have to say, for someone my age, I honestly don't have a social life. My life is focused on work. trying to do better on that. I'm trying to, have good work-life balance. It's very important. We all know that. But it is not a retirement job. If you want to get into luxury hospitality director or manager, you got to be on your toes. You got to be ready for anything, because again, yes, it's a beautiful environment, but it is very real and things happen. We're not on the streets, of LA at night, but hey, things can happen and we have to be ready for that. And, we're not cops, we're not police officers, but we're here to support those heroes. We're here to support the police officers. We're here to support the firefighters and the paramedics. If something happens, we're going to get them to someone who needs help. We're also going to get them out. If they're transporting somebody to the hospital, we're going to make sure that there's a clear way out for them. And that, if we have emergency fire gates, we'll get them out, things like that. We will work to facilitate them to do their job, because they do an amazing job. And it's just incredible to see these guys, these law enforcement officers, these firefighters and paramedics over the years. They have really been a blessing. They've been amazing. I've seen them in crisis situations respond, and they've done an incredible job. And I have the utmost respect for the men and women that are in these fields. And I can tell you, we need you in the private security field. And I want to encourage you, when you're done with your career, please, apply, come on into the private security field, come into luxury hospitality. We want that background. We talked about on this podcast today, it's very good too to have that, we will also like to see customer service, but the men and women that do those jobs, they are heroes. And I just want to say thank you to them.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you guys for all what you do for our communities and men and women in blue, for keep our cities, streets safe from the, people that are dangerous out there that want to do harm. As we wrap up this podcast, Zack, do you have any parting words of advice to the audience? Any gold nuggets that you can offer before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I just want to say again, wherever you are in your life, wherever you're at, it goes back to being fearless. Like in Mark's opening intro of this podcast, have a fearless mindset. Don't get too much in your head. Don't let your brain tell you, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. No, you can do it. If you want to do it, set goals out for yourself and be resilient and do it. Be the best at what you do in the process. Don't tell yourself, hey, I want to be the, vice president of this or that. No, don't think like that. Think right now, whatever I'm doing, I'm going to be the very best at what I do. I'm going to excel at this. And I'm going to put 100% effort into it every single day, and be relentless at what you do. Do it every single day, right? Every day you come in, don't think about, hey, I did some great things last week and some great things last month. No, you cannot think like that. Psychologically, you have to tell yourself, today, I'm going to be the best at what I do. And it doesn't have to just be at work, right? Even at home, I'm going to be the best father today. I'm going to be the best husband. I'm going to be the best at what I do every single day. And I think that mindset will really help you moving forward and staying positive. And I also want to say, I know it's been tough times for a lot of people, but just know that there's hope, and there's a future for us here, and there's good things. We live in a great country, like you said, Mark, earlier. We are more united than others think, right? We're more united, and we can do this, and we're going to do a great job. And I just want to I want to encourage everybody, especially those individuals out there that are watching this podcast and want to get into the private security firm. It's a great career, and if you want to do it, just put your 100% full focus into it, and you'll do a great job.
Great advice, Zack. And folks, if you want to reach out to Zack, he's on LinkedIn. He'll be moving to his new role here soon. And yeah, please, if you're listening to this on YouTube or watching on YouTube, please make a comment, like it, subscribe to YouTube. I'm also on YouTube, or not YouTube, Instagram. We post this on Facebook as well, and all the social media channels on Twitter as well. And please subscribe to the show, follow us, download it on Apple. And we have more great guests coming, offering great words of wisdom. And with that said, I know Zack's got a time crunch and a hard stop here at the top of the hour, and he's got to run a business in a city over there at the Newport Balboa Country Club Resort over there. So we appreciate Zack's time and just being willing to come on. And he had to get approval from his organization to do this too. So oftentimes when you're dealing with senior leadership in corporations, they got to get the blessing from the bosses. But with that said, folks, thanks for listening and thanks for tuning in. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Fearless Mindset Podcast. Until then, we'll see you soon.